Part 9. Tomato Soup? Time passed quickly. Day after day, the girls sat through class, played at recess, ate at lunch, and participated in PE, wondering when the voice would show up again to them. But days turned into weeks, and nothing had occurred. Spring break had come and passed, and now it was the month of April. It was Friday, and the third grade was back in PE. Mr. Alfaro started class and said, "Today we're gonna play Guard Your Pin. Here are your bowling pins and dodgeballs, and, I forgot the poly spots. Maggie, would you mind grabbing them from the closet for me? Everyone else, let's play Everybody's at Tag to get our bodies warmed up." Maggie looked at Paige nervously, got up, and went to the closet. She stepped in slowly and looked into the darkness. She could hardly see, so she reached for the closet light switch. "I'll turn on the lights, grab the poly spots, and run out," she thought. Maggie's hand touched the light switch when suddenly she heard a voice from behind her say, "You're here." Maggie screamed. The closet door shut, and Maggie stepped back deeper into the shadows of the closet. Maggie tripped on a hula hoop and fell to the floor. She wore purple glasses that had now fallen off, and all she could see was a dark silhouette just a few feet in front of her. The voice came from the dark figure and said, "Now that you're here, we just need Paige and Sophia." Maggie yelled out, "No, I'm not staying here." Wait, Sophia? Sophia was another friend of theirs in their third grade class. The class couldn't hear the commotion at first because the gym was loud with music and chatter from the kids playing tag. But only a few moments passed when Mr. Alfaro noticed that Maggie was still in the closet and the closet door was closed. Why would she close the door? He thought. He moved closer to the closet, and as he approached it, he heard a scream. He rushed in and said, "Maggie, what happened? Are you all right?" Maggie was breathing heavily and replied, "Mr. Alfaro, yes, I'm okay. I just, tripped and lost my glasses." "But I heard you scream. It sounded bad," Mr. Alfaro said. "No, I'm okay. I'm really sorry for worrying you, Mr. Alfaro," Maggie said. That was strange, he thought. And why does it smell like tomato soup in here? Paige ran over and gave Maggie a hug, and that's when Maggie peered over her shoulder and made eye contact with her classmate, Sophia. "She knows too, Paige. Sophia knows." Sophia looked away, and Maggie calmed down. Paige was curious about what Maggie meant and asked, "Are you sure? How do you know?" "We'll find out more at lunch," Maggie said. Mr. Alfaro gathered the class back in the middle of the gym, and they continued with their activities. Part 10. A third one? Later that day, Maggie and Paige sat at the end of the lunch table, and Paige was filled in with what Maggie experienced in the closet. Paige said, "Tomato soup? That's so strange, but okay. If we tell Sophia exactly what happened to us, I'm sure she'll tell us if she's been through the same things." "You're right," Maggie said. "To anyone else we'd sound crazy, but if she really does know..." Suddenly, Sophia sat down right next to Maggie. "I saw your pictures in art class. I walked past your table that day. All that time ago, I saw what both of you drew. Look," Sophia said, as she laid a piece of paper down on the lunch table. It was a drawing of the closet with its two blue doors shut and a basketball outside the doors. The window on the right side had a pair of eyes peering through it with darkness surrounding the eyes. Paige and Maggie were in shock. Sophia continued sharing, "I drew this that same day in art class. I've wanted to just forget this. About the voice and the ball and the lights turning off. I never wanted to tell anyone. I hoped this all would stop. But then I saw what happened to you in PE, Maggie. I'm so scared, but..." Paige cut her off and said, "But you want to know what's in the closet?" "Yeah," Sophia said. The girls felt uneasy that the gym closet was just across the room from them. Then, out of nowhere, the lights in the room went out. "Oh no," Sophia said. Before the girls could even turn to look at the gym closet, they heard Mrs. Etner's voice from across the same room. She was standing by the light switch and said, "It is much too loud in here. If we can't handle talking to the person next to us with an inside voice, we will have a silent lunch." Paige was looking up towards Mrs. Etner when she realized something strange. Part 11. Unclear darkness. A shadow seemed to sweep across the wall behind Mrs. Etner. It traveled towards the corner of the room, which had an opening to the school's large back room and stairs to the attic. Paige watched the shadow reach that opening, as if it went inside. And that's when Mrs. Etner turned the lights back on, and the quiet chatter of the students began to start again. But Paige had a curious thought, and she immediately started laughing very loudly so that the whole cafeteria could hear. "Paige, what in the world are you doing? Stop!" Maggie said. "You're gonna get us in trouble!" That's when Mrs. Etner turned the lights off again and exclaimed, "Who is making all that noise over there?" Paige quickly looked back to the opening of the back room, and she saw the shadow sweep further across the wall and through an open door of the gym closet. The shadow was gone. "Excuse me, I've asked you all a question," Mrs. Etner said. Paige shook her head, as if to snap out of a trance. She looked back towards Mrs. Etner and said, "It was me. I'm sorry." Mrs. Etner called Paige over to sit at a different table for the remainder of the lunch period. Paige looked at the other two girls and said, "I'll explain later." Maggie replied, "I don't understand. I'm so confused." "Later," said Paige as she left to move seats. Paige was now sitting at the end of the teacher's table. That's when one of the cooks, Mrs. Veers, from the kitchen, came out with a tray of sugar cookies and said, "Well, teachers, we actually have some extras today. I'll tell you, this has been a strange year with food disappearing from the kitchen. It's been happening for months." Paige was stunned and instantly thought, "The smells from all those times. Chicken nuggets, Bosco sticks, and tomato soup." Part 12. Music Class. The day continued, and the third grade was in music class. Their music teacher, Miss Keating, was sorting through sheets of music for the spring concert. The three girls saw this as an opportunity to continue their conversation quietly in the back of the music room. "All right, Paige, explain," Maggie demanded. "Yeah, why were you laughing like a crazy person?" Sophia added. Paige explained that she saw the shadow move across the room. She continued and said, "Honestly, I don't know how nobody else saw it, but I think I figured something else out. Each time there has been a crazy encounter with the voice from the closet, there's been some smell of food, cafeteria food, coming from the closet." Sophia replied, "Whoa, come to think of it, when the voice scared me, I could smell biscuits and gravy, but I didn't think much of it." Maggie was still a bit confused and asked, "Okay, so what does this all mean?" Paige replied, "It means that, 1, the voice is some sort of shadow. 2, the voice needs food to stay alive, I think. And 3, if it rushed to the closet when the lights were out, it needs to live in the dark." So that's why you laughed like a crazy person, so you can see if it would move in the dark?" Maggie said. "Exactly, and our cook was talking about food missing. The voice, or shadow, must have been stealing it all this time," Paige said. "So if we bring the shadow food, maybe it'll calm down and we can ask it some questions, like why it keeps bothering us," Maggie said. Sophia had a shocked look on her face and exclaimed, "What? Bringing food and having a nice conversation with it? That's our big plan?" Maggie barked back, "Give me a break, I'm only 8 years old." Paige said, "I want to know more. I'm willing to try that." Sophia replied, "Okay, so do I. But when should we do it?" Maggie thought for a moment and said, "What about the night of the concert? When the concert's over, everyone will be in the multi-purpose room for dessert. That's when we'll go to the gym and get some answers." Paige replied, "And we'll bring food in our backpacks and flashlights just in case." Sophia said, "All right, I'm in. We'll find out what this shadowy friend of ours really wants." Miss Keating got up from her desk and said, "Class, it's time to practice. so I'm gonna need everyone to stand and warm up with me. Paige, Maggie, and Sophia now had a plan that they hoped would help them solve this mystery, and the night of the concert was only 3 days away.